That person, God will speak to you today.
God will speak to you today.
Alam nyo, just a little bit of a background. Was this the first time that the Israelites complained?
No.
What's your answer?
No.
No, di ba? Starting pa lang, nung pag-alis nila sa Egypt, from Exodus to Numbers, umalis sa Egypt, umalis kay Pharaoh, nung hinahabol sila ni Pharaoh, natakot sila, nagreklamo ulit, Lord, ayan na sila ulit, babalik na ba kami? Nung nauhaw sila sa wilderness, nagreklamo uli sila. Nung nagutom sila, nagreklamo uli sila. From Exodus to Numbers, they complained for a total of 14 times. Can you say that? 14 times. Tingin sa katabi, ilang beses na yung nagreklamo sa iyo simula ngayong umaga? I hope wala pang 14. Ayan. But, to be fair, balikan natin yung verse kanina. Yung Numbers 11 verse 1, Numbers 11, yung binasa natin, may sinabi doon that the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to pray the good things of Egypt. And the people of Israel also began to complain. So in fairness sa mga Israelites, this time, hindi sila yung nagsimula ng pagreklamo. Sino yung nagsimula? Yung mga foreigners, yung foreign rabble are the foreigners na kasama nila, mga Egyptians. So first lesson that we could learn here today is this: be careful with the conversations that you hear. Because sometimes akala natin walang effect, pero it has an effect on us. Expanding it further, be careful of the social media feeds you watch each day. Be careful of the news that you watch. Be careful of everything that you consume because it has an effect on you. Lalo na kung complaining yan. Makukuha mo yan at mag-grasp mo yan. Naalala ko tuloy. Minsan, kaming magkakaklase from high school, nagkita-kita. Alam niyo yung pag-reunion, di ba? Tapos medyo matagal din nagkita-kita. Excited, tapos masaya. So we chose a Japanese restaurant. So nag-meet kami, nandun na. So naturally, nakamiti lahat. Tapos parang, oy, kamusta, pre? Ganyan. Tapos yung usual na question, habang umorder, hinihintay yung order, umiikot ng tanongan, o ikaw, pre, kamusta ka na? Nagsimula dun sa isa namin kaklase, nung tinanong siya na kamusta na, ang akala namin ay sasagot niya, eto, okay lang, tapos move on na. Di ba ganun lang naman yung mga tanongan? Bigla siyang nagsabi na, hey, grabe sa office. Dami-dami work. Tapos yung boss ko, ganito. Tapos tuloy-tuloy. Tapos mamaya, sa bahay namin, ganito. Tapos yung nanay ko, ganyan. Tapos ganito, ganyan. Ang dami na. You know what happened? 15 minutes na. Hindi pa siya tapos magreklamo. Kami mga nakamite, na naghintay ng order, maya-maya nakagano na kami. Tapos parang buti na lang, isa kong kaibigan, nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob. Sabi niya bigla, hep, 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 hep. Teka lang. Di ba dapat masaya tayo? Ang sarap ng pagkain, no? Dito nga tayo nag-meet, tapos nagkita-kita tayo. Buti na lang. He had the courage to stop that person complaining. You wanna know why? Because, naapektuhan na kami. Habang mga nakaganong kami, ako naisip ko na, oo nga, hirap yung trabaho. Buti pa yung estudyante ako, ay oo nga, ganito. Napansin niyo yun, minsan pag may nagre-reklamo sa paligid mo, pag hindi ka conscious ang mangyayari ay, mahahawa ka. Tingin sa katabi, sabihin ko sa kanya, mahahawa ka. Because complaining is contagious. Do you agree? Complaining is contagious. That's why we have to be careful. So, along the context of talking about complaints and complaining, let me ask you this question. Is all complaining bad? Is all complaining bad? Masama ba magreklamo? Ano sa tingin niyo? Yung iba nag-umiilan ng ulo, ibig sabihin hindi. Ang sagot ko dyan, depende. Depende kung paanong paraan mo gagawin. I love this verse from Psalms chapter 142. Ang sabi dito, I pour out my complaints before Him and tell Him all my troubles. When I am overwhelmed, You alone know the way I should turn. So kung gusto mo ng tamang paraan para magreklamo, ang tawag ko dito, holy complaining. Sabihin nyo nga yung holy complaining.
Holy complaining.
When you direct your complaints and rants and worries up to God, it deepens your relationship with Him. Totoo yun. Di ba napansin nyo, kahit gaano mo kamahal yung tao, kahit asawa mo pa yan, kahit girlfriend mo pa yan, kahit anak mo pa yan, Pag may composure ka, kaya mong tiisin lahat ng reklamo niya. Pero minsan, hindi mo nakakayanin, naapektuhan ka rin. Do you agree? So that's why today, very simply, God is teaching us there's a way to wholly complain. Bring it before God. Kasi si Lord hindi madidrink. Kasi minsan nakala natin, when you speak to God, kailangan, Lord, wala akong problema, kailangan hindi ako inis. Pero God even wants that. Kahit inis ka, kahit bad trip ka, kausapin mo siya. And you can speak even in that language. King David used that. If you're reading Psalms and Proverbs, papansin mo doon. Minsan pag kinausap niya si Lord, ang sasabihin niya, Lord, bad trip ka naman, ito na naman yung mga kalaban, ganito na naman yung nangyayari. So, pag ginawa mo yan in the context of bringing to God, that is holy complaining, and it will deepen your relationship to God. So, may tamang paraan ng pagreklamo, huwag mahihiyang magsabi kayo. Amen? Amen. So, balikan natin yung nangyayari doon sa Numbers. So, anong pinagkaiba ng complaining ng mga Israelites? The Numbers story is really about the chronic complaining of the Israelites. It is not fueled by their desire to trust God. It is fueled by a rebellious spirit and a lack of trust in God. So, yan yung kailangan natin iwasan. Diba? Kasi totoo naman na tao lang tayo, hindi maiwasang matakot o ma-frustrate, pero dapat gawin natin yung tama by complaining it and bringing it to God. Because if we don't do that, naturally, we will go into our default. Can you say that word, default?
Default.
Do you know that our minds have default settings? Yung knee-jerk reaction, second nature na ginagawa ng tao. Mapapansin mo yan eh. Alam ko meron kayo ditong kaibigan na ang default niya, pag may challenge, natataranta o naaaligaga. May kilala kayo ganyan? Diba? Merong tao na automatic pag may challenge sa buhay, may pinagdadaanan, magagalit. Bakit nangyayari ito? Merong tao na kapag may challenge ang automatic, natatakot. So iba-iba ang default. So today, God is teaching us, there are two modes that you can choose from. You could either start complaining, or you could either start celebrating. Two modes. Tingin sa katabi. Sabihin mo sa kanya, ikaw ang mamili. Magreklamo o magsaya. And this is very interesting. According to Angela Grice, a speech language pathologist specialized in neurocognition at Columbia University. Nasabi ko yun, parang tongue-twister, no? Sabi niya doon, the more you do something, the more entrenched the path becomes in your brain. And the more you continue to do it. Napansin mo na minsan kahit consciously, ayaw mong magalit. Pero bakit bigla kang umiinit ang ulo? Nakuha nyo? Diba? Because it has been entrenched in your brain for so long. Kaya ang nangyayari, nag-automatic ka na doon. In reality, dume-default ka na doon. So you have to be aware. Because usually, kapag ganun ang nangyari, yun lagi ang magiging reaction mo. Naalala ko tuloy, kasi po yung anak ko, 3 years old na. So pag 3 years old na, medyo masakit na sa likod, kasi lagi mga habulin, ang bilis-bilis, ang daming energy. Tapos minsan, nakakita yung anak ko habang naglalakad kami, nakakita siya ng hagdan. So tumingin sa akin, tatay, hangdan tawag sa hagdan. Sabi ko, ano gusto mong gawin natin? Yung tulo niya, sabi niya, akit daw kami. Tapos sa isip-isip ko, magpa-playground pa tayo, anak. Tapos mag-grocery pa tayo, tapos pupunta pa tayo dito. Tapos akit tayo ng hagdan na walang size-size. Sa isip-isip ko, nagreklamo na ako. Parang hindi ko matiis, nakangiti talaga, hagdan. Kasi po nakatira kami sa condo, walang hagdan, sa elevator na. So pag nakakita siya ng hagdan, namamangha siya. So alam niyo ginawa ko? Hinaya ko siya mag-hagdan. Sabi mo, maakyat kami? Kala ko isang floor na. Hindi na kontento. Isang floor pa ulit. Hanggang nakadalawang floor kami. Tapos pero habang pag-akyat namin ng second floor, nakita ko ang saya niya. Bigla ko naisip, nga no. Why did I default to complain? Unang-una, kailangan ko rin naman na exercise. Tapos pangalawa, masaya naman yung anak ko. Nakuha niyo. Sometimes, if your default is to complain, you become blind to the abundance around you. May mga biyaya, pero hindi mo nakikita. Tingin sa katabi. Biyaya mo yan. Baka minsan, akala mo, hindi. Diba? So God's invitation for us today is this: to change our default. Can you say that? Change our default.
Change our default.
Because the reality is this: God is showing a party 24/7. Maraming biyaya dyan. Lahat ng kailangan mo sa buhay, nandyan. Ang tanong, aware ka ba enough to see na nandyan sila? Kasi baka minsan nandyan na sa harap mo, hindi mo namamalayan. Because of your complaining. Tingin sa katabi ulit, sabihin mo sa kanya, stop na tayo sa complaining. So today, we'd like to share 3 messages to you as we break down the verses that we read earlier. So message number 1 is this: don't pray for what is predictable, trust in God instead. Balikan ko yung Numbers 11, verse 4 to 6. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt. And the people of Israel also began to complain, "Oh, for some meat," they exclaimed. "We remember the fish that we used to eat for free in Egypt. And we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic we wanted, but now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is this manna." Nakita niyo paano sa mga recent talks natin, puro food problem. And the author of Numbers is pointing us back to the fall of Adam and Eve in the garden. First, unang-una, food problem ulit. Pangalawa, alam niyo ba that the Hebrew word that they used for crave was the same word that they used sa Genesis 3 when Eve desired of the fruit. Ibig sabihin, they're desiring something that they cannot have anymore. By longing for their former life, even if it's horrible, they were redefining what is good and bad. Diba that's the classic saying? Redefining what's good and bad. Yung akala mo, ito yung okay para sa akin, Lord, pero hindi na pala yun. Doon yung gusto nilang balikan. Anong naaalala nila about Egypt? Yung libreng meat. Yung cucumber, yung leeks, yung onions. Lord, ang sarap nun. Ngayon ang kinakain namin, puro mana. Yung mana na hinulog ni Lord, di ba? Pero parang nakalimutan nila, nung nasa Egypt yung Israelites, ano sila? They were slaves. Diba? The little pleasure of having that food is making them forget, oo nga, dati we don't own our lives, dati we are under slavery, but we failed to we have forgotten that God rescued us from slavery, freed us from Egypt, led us across the wilderness, parted the Red Sea, saved us, brought us to Mount Sinai, continuing our journey today to the Promised Land. And we forgot. Kapatid, sa buhay mo ganun. Balikan mo. Saan na binahay ng Diyos ang buhay mo? Di ba maaaring doon, Lord, ito ang problema ko. Ngayon, nasagot na, nandito ka na, may bagong problema. Tapos nagreklamo ko, Lord, balik na lang kaya ako kasi parang mas predictable yung dahil. May mga kakilala kayong ganun. Minsan may mga taong ganyan eh. They are in an abusive relationship, tapos hindi mo maalis. Bakit tayo umalis? Kasi the abuse is more predictable and familiar than the uncertainty of not having a partner. Nakuha nyo? And psychology calls this as homing instinct. Can you say that with me? Homing instinct. And mind you, sometimes this is not conscious. Minsan consciously naman, ayaw natin to be in an abusive relationship. Ayaw natin to be in a problematic career. Pero minsan umuulit-ulit yan. Because homing instinct will recreate your former home no matter how painful it is because it is familiar. And this is the challenge of today. Yung woundedness and homing instinct, dun tayo bumabalik, that we tend to magnify the 1% pleasures and forget the 99% of the pain. So God is reminding us today, don't go back to the predictability of slavery. Keep moving forward to unpredictable places where only God is certain. Kasi minsan takot tayo sa uncertain. Tingin sa katabi, sabi mo sa kanya, okay lang yan. Move on na tayo. The second message is this. reject the poison of entitlement by nurturing appreciation. Ito yung nangyari, basahin pa natin. Kasi doon sinabi natin sa verse 6, all we ever see is this manna. And just to give you a bit of a background, this manna has kept them alive for so long. Pero dahil, di ba, 40 years may manna sa desert para may kakainin sila while they are traveling to the promised land. So, ngayon, dahil madalas na nilang kinakain, parang makaramdam nila, boring na, bakit ganito? Mas gusto na nila yung may onion, may leeks, ganyan. So, Numbers 11, verse 7 to 9. Ito yung first time na dinidescribe yung manna sa kanila according to Numbers. The manna looked like small coriander seeds, and it was pale yellow like gum resin. The people would go out and gather it from the ground. They made flour by grinding it with hand mills or pounding it in mortars. Then they boiled it in a pot and made it into flat cakes. These cakes tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. So olive oil. The manna came down on the camp with the dew during the night. So imagine, habang natutulog ka, may mahuhulog na pagkain. Pagkagising mo kinabukasan, mahuhulog ka na lang. May pagkain ka na. Sino po dito ang namamalengke? Diba? Mahirap malengke, mahirap magplano. At isa pa doon, magbabudget ka ba? Imagine naman yung Israelites every morning, hindi kailangan mamalengke, hindi kailangan magtrabaho. Nandun na yung biyaya nila. Pero dahil araw-araw nilang nakukuha, parang nag-iba. Nagsawa sila, na-bored. Parang naghanap, Lord, puro mana, flat cakes, lasang pastry, wala bang peanut butter? Wala bang Nutella? Diba? Wala bang cheese whiz? Madami na tayo rin about, wala bang Arla, gano'n. And I think the author of Numbers is pointing out this usual human flaw and this pattern. And this is it. When you give someone a gift, naturally the person appreciates that. But if you give the same gift over and over again, it becomes expectation. When you keep on giving the same gifts over and over and over again, it becomes entitlement. Hindi na sasapat. Diba? So appreciation is like a plant that you have to nurture or it dies. Kaya napapansin ko to it happens in families. When there is financial dependence with a family member, for example, a sibling is entrusted to let the other person, the other sibling study. Diba, minsan nagtutuloy-tuloy ang relationship niya, hanggang may asawa na yung nagpapaaral, sa kanya pa rin dumidepende yung sibling. At dadating sa point, dahil nasanay na yung sibling ang gagawin, manghihingi pa. Teka, laki na sweldo mo, double lock, ba't ito lang binibigay mo? From appreciation, it became entitlement. Yan yung nangyari sa Israelites. And it can happen to every one of us. That's why we're talking about it now. So that we have an early warning and you can check yourselves. And you can examine also yourself. Kahit sa akin po nangyari. Do you know that in the condo where we live, we have 5 swimming pools. And isa dyan sa 5 swimming pools kung saan kami nakatira, isang Olympic-sized swimming pool. Noong una kong nakuha yung condo, tinurn over, so ako excited. Wow, parang ako nasa resort, ang ganda dito. Pero gusto nyo itanong kung in the 12 years that the property has been with me, tanong nyo sa akin, ilang beses ka na nakapag-swimming? Tanong nyo ilan? 3 beses. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi araw-araw, nung dati pinapaupahan ko pa, so hindi ko nakikita lagi. Pero nung doon na kami nakatira, mga 5 years ago, araw-araw nadadaan ako yung swimming pool. Tapos nakikita ko lagi, so okay, swimming pool. Everyday, swimming pool. Tapos pag summer na, napakarami nagsiswimming. Tapos magreklamo ko, ano ba yan? Ang dami-dami nagpapa-Airbnb dito. Parang yung tubig ng swimming pool natin, malabo na. Ganon. Eh nung hindi pa ako nakatira doon, nagpapa-Airbnb din ako. Nakuha nyo? Kakareklamo ko, nakalimutan ko na, oo nga pala na. Pangarap ko lang to dati. Magkaroon ng condo, na may swimming pool. Tingin ka ulit sa katabi. Pangarap mo lang ba siya? Pero tingin ka sa katabi mo, meron ka bang pangarap lang dati na ngayon nagkatotoo na? Alam niyo na bago yan. Many things that I'm actually enjoying now or once but a dream. Nagbago yung pananaw ko doon nung minsan sinama ko yung anak ko. Totoo nga na dahil sa mga bata, minsan na-realize mo yung wisdom ni Lord. So minsan, natuwa siya sa swimming pool, sinawsaw ko yung paa niya. Wala siyang tigil, ganun siya ng ganun. Nag-i-enjoy siya magtampisaw. Biglang nag-flashback lahat sa akin. Lahat ng mga restaurant eat-outs na hindi ko kinain in the past, yung mga panahon nagka-problema ako financially, pansit lang itong kinakain ko para makapagbayad pa rin sa condo. Tapos ngayon, parang ano, Lord? Lahat ng paghihirap ko dati, you use this now para I can say to my daughter, you can swim any day you want. You can swim every day. Because the blessing is already there. Sometimes we just fail to see it and appreciate it. Hawakan mo mahigpit ang kamay ng katabi. Sabihin mo sa kanya, the blessing is already there. Appreciate it. Message number 3 is this. And I want you to listen closely to this because this is something that's very different. Not every answered prayer is a blessing. Huh? Malalaman natin kung bakit. Numbers chapter 11 verse 18. Ito na yung sagot ni Lord. Nagreklamo sila, Lord, namimiss na namin pagkain, ayaw na namin kumana, sawang-sawa na kami. Ang sagot nila sa kanila ni Lord ito. Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will have to eat it. And it won't be just for a day or two, or for 5 or 10 or even 20. You will eat it for a whole month until you gag and you are sick of it. For you have rejected the Lord who is here among you, and you have whined to him, saying, why did we ever leave Egypt? If you remember, konting background, pinadadala ni Lord itong mga meat na ito in the form of quails, kasama ng mana, nung nagmamigrate yung mga quails sa Exodus. Diba? But this time, yung pinadala niya, ganun ulit, pero 10 times the quantity. So naturally, what happened to the people? They grew sick of it. Real talk tayo mga kapatid, itong message that we can get from this verse, sometimes God will let you have what you want, even if it's not good for you, to allow your stupidity to run its full course so that you repent. That's the reality. Parents, who are parents here? Asan ka ba? Ayan po. Di ba may mga bagay na in your wisdom and in your maturity, I was about to say, in your age, in your maturity, di ba? May mga alam ka na, anak mo na gawin to kasi alam na to eh. So minsan, pinagbabawalan yung anak mo na gawin yon, or sinasabihan mo siya na, don't ever try this. Pero do you find it hard when they don't listen and still do it? Ngayon yung anak ko na toddler, nasa ganung stage, may mga bagay na i-explain ako sa kanya, pero siguro dahil bata pa siya, hindi pa mag-grasp ng utak niya. And one of that is yung pagtatanggal ng shoes sa playground. So ngayon, pagkatuyo naman yung playground, okay lang naman sa akin kasi alam ko rin na nakakatulong sa mga bata, yung nakapaa-balance, nagagamit din yung toes niya. So after magtanggal ng shoes, mamaya babalik yung shoes, mag-wet wipes na kami, tsaka alcohol. Pero there are particular instances na ayokong tanggalin niya yung shoes niya sa playground. Itanong niyo sa akin kung kailan. Kapag basa yung fake grass. Kasi dahil fake grass yung grass sa playground namin, basa. So alam ko na basa, pag tinapakan niya, hindi na rin magugustuhan, tsaka una-una, hindi rin, you know? So sabi pa niya, no baby, you cannot take off your shoes. Eh makulit siya, tatanggalin ko niya, tatanggalin. Dadating ako sa point, nasasabihin ko sa sarili ko, sige, nahayaan kita mo ako mag-shoes para ma-experience mo at malaman mo kung anong sinasabi ko. So gano'n na nga nangyari. Tinanggal yung shoes, tatapak ko sa fake grass, basa. Pangalawang step pa lang, titingin sa akin, tatay, basa, yak. Mag-shoes na siya ulit. Are you getting my point? In a similar way, the Bible scholars are interpreting the verse this way. Ang tawag pa nga nila dito, anthropomorphic interpretation of the personality of God. Kasi dito mapapansin mo, parang may emosyon si Lord, parang galit siya, parang nainis na siya. Pero in a way, parang that's the way we relate to a God, di ba? Parang sa mga magulang, parang siyang magulang dito, no? Sige, pagbibigyan kita sa gusto mo, para matutunan mo kung ano ang consequence mo. So what are we talking about here? Sometimes, maybe, your answered prayer is the way that God is allowing you to experience the consequences of your decision. I don't know what it is. For some, it may be in the form of expanding a business kahit hindi pa time, kahit hindi pa organic. Sige, maglo-loan ako kahit 1%, 2% additional interest. I need the capital. Malinaw sa'yo na ang intention mo hindi naman talaga para sa growth ng business. Ang intention mo, ipamukha doon sa mga nang-api sa'yo noon. Ito na ako ngayon, may narating na ako sa buhay. Or maybe you are rushing in a relationship. Yung sabi mo na, hindi, dapat magka-BF na ako agad kasi ex ko meron ng GF. Diba? Kailangan pakita ko sa kanila na hindi ako naapektuhan. And be careful because sometimes God will allow you. God will answer that prayer for you. So you have to always check the intention of your heart. Otherwise, baka ma-experience mo yung consequence until you finally learn the right way to go. Can you look at the person beside you? Tell that person, ingat sa mga pinagdadasal niya. And I think this story, the complaining that we have heard from the numbers and everything, is very similar to a story we know in the New Testament. Are you familiar with the story of the prodigal son? Diba? There are complainers in that story. Unang-una nang nagreklamo, yung bunso. Diba? Parang ang ganda-ganda ng buhay niya kasama ng tatay niya. Sinabi niya, ayoko na po dito. Gusto ko na yung mana ko. Kukunin ko na ang aking mana. Ako nang bahala. Anong nangyari? Pinagbigyan ng tatay. Nung pinagbigyan, ginamit yung mana, naglustay, nagpakasasa, hanggang umabot siya sa point na kinakain niya pagkain ng baboy. Food problem ulit. Napansin niyo? Food problem ulit. Connected yung mga food problem sa Bible in God's message. Until kaka-food problem niya, bigla niya naisip, kung sumahin ng tatay ko. Yung mga tagapagsilbi niya are eating much more. So, uuwi na lang ako. And God is still good. God is showing His personality in the Father. What happened when He went home? Luke chapter 15, verse 23 to 24. Anong sabi doon? Pag uwi ng anak na nagpakariwara, ang sabi sa kanya, we must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but he is found. So the party began. Kapatid, itong message ng Diyos sa inyo. Kung sakaling nagkamali ka, yung dinasal mo, hindi okay para sa'yo, pero binigay pa rin ni Lord at bumalik ka kay Lord, unang-una ang mensahe niya sa'yo ito, tatanggapin ka na ulit at mamahalin ka. Pero hindi na nagtatapos ang story. Here comes the second brother, the second son. Nagreklamo din. Ang sabi niya, pambihira ka naman tayo. Yung kapatid ko, na kinuha na yung mana niya, so parang nahati na yung para sa'yo, pinaglitsyon mo pag-uwi. Ako, kasama kita dito sa farm, araw-araw nagtatrabaho para sa'yo. Ni isang kambing na duling, hindi mo man na ako pinagtagda para sa mga kaibigan ko. Diba? Sibling, envy, and complaining. Hindi lang yan natapos doon, meron din sa Numbers, chapter 12, verse 1 to 2. Si Miriam and Aaron criticized Moses, kapatid niya sa Moses, because he had married a Cushite woman. They said, has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Hasn't He spoken through us too? Pakiramdam nila, kasi di ba Israelites, yung lahat ng hindi Israelite, tawag nila Gentile. So nakapangasawa si Moses ng hindi Israelite. Nagreklamo sila, siya lang ba may pabor sa Diyos? Siya lang pwede gumawa niyo? Nakakalimutan nila na sila din favored. Dahil unang-una, si Aaron was a high priest. Miriam was a prophetess. Bakit nakalimutan nila? That's why I love the father's response to the second son. Nung nagreklamo siya. Ang sabi niya, everything I have is yours. Can you look at the person beside you? Sabihin mo siya, everything God has is yours. Can I be honest with you? I want to share something that I experienced recently. Nung bago-bago ako sa faith, mas nakaka-relate ako dun sa first prodigal son. Kasi di ba yung mga mali mo sa buhay, tapos tinanggap ka uli ng Diyos. So ngayon, medyo nasa next stage ka na ng biyahe mo sa buhay. Nandun ka na sa, Lord, gusto ko nang itama lahat ng mga mali kong ginagawa. Gusto ko nang sundin ka. Pero have you noticed this? Bakit ganun, Lord? Pag mas sinusunod na kita, pag mas itinatama ko na yung buhay ko, bakit parang minsan mas mahirap? Naalala ko po yan mga kapatid. Business, BIR. Wala kaming pangalawang libro. So, isa lang yung book. So, minsan yung teller ng bangko, kung saan kami nagre-remit, magsasabi, Sir, anong business to? Bakit ang laki? Sabi niya gano'n. So, ang nangyari pa, yung BIR, mas lalo pa kaming hinihipitan at akala at may tinatago kami. So, bakit gano'n? Ginagawa namin yung tama. Isa pang situation, in another business I had in the past, kailangan isara yung negosyo. So, yung sekretary ko, maya-maya, after mag-research sa mga gagawin, ang sabi sa akin, Sir, kailangan po natin magbayad ng ganito, ng ganyan, gagastos pa kami para walang maisara ng ayos. Sabi ko, bakit ganito? Tama na naman ang buhay namin. And recently was this, I'm in the insurance industry. May client ako. And alam ko for a fact that I have to declare medical, everything, medical condition when I'm submitting an application. So minsan bino-volunteer ko yan kahit 80 years old, binapadala ko because I know na kailangan gawin yun at yun yung tama. And naturally, pag nag-submit ka ng 80 years old, iimbestigahan yan. So mas mataas yung chance na yung ma-decline applications. Long story short, na-decline application ko recently. So parang ako, I was complaining to God, Lord, in the first place, still din naman talaga yung tao. Tapos ako naman nag-volunteer, bakit ma-decline pa? Tapos, lalo pang to add fuel to the rubble, parang yung mga nagre-reklamong rubble kanina, I'm also handling portfolios of my clients. So kahit hindi sa akin galing yung policy, inaaral ko, ginagawa ko ng summary. So habang nire-review ko ibang policy, nung isa kong kliyente, nakita ko doon, kinuha niya yung policy age mid-50s. Tapos chinek ko, uy, ano ba yung dineclare nila sa medical? Pag-check ko doon sa medical, no lahat ko. Walang confinement, 55 years old, pigilin siya. Sabi ko naman, so I was like, the second son complaining to God, Lord, bakit ganon? Ginagawa ko yung tama. Bakit parang mas mahirap for me? Until I hear the resounding voice of God in my head, telling me, everything I have is yours. So, what does that mean? Everything I have is yours. But parang I don't have. Sabi ko sa kanya. Until, as I was reflecting about it, he kept telling me, keep doing good. And eventually, it will be good. Kung sabi niya, anak, maaring ngayon, pakiramdam mo yung mabuti mong ginagawa, wala lang. Walang buti. Siguro dahil kasi hindi pa sa tamang panahon. Kasi iba yung gusto mo ngayon. At hindi pa align sa magandang plano ng Diyos. But I always wanted to trust in this. Everything I have. Amen. Can you all stand up? In all that we have read today, you'll notice that the common problem of human beings is hunger. Can you say that with me, hunger? Napansin nyo, kapag stressed ka, or worried ka, or may pinagdadaanan ka, minsan it comes in the form of hunger pangs. Gusto mong kumain ng masarap, gusto mo ng chichirya. O kaya sometimes it comes in the form of gusto mong mag-Netflix. O kaya pag napagod ka na buong araw, puyat ka na, tapos naubos na yung oras mo makasilbi sa pamilya mo, sa mga anak mo, lahat-lahat. Pagdating ng gabi, matutulog ka na lang, magsa-cellphone ka, may hunger. Hunger to own your time and what you do. So, imbis na matulog ang gagawin mo, mag-scroll ka, mapupuyat ka lalo. Pero kasi inisip mo, ito na lang yung pagkakataon ko. Ito na lang yung oras ko para sa sarili. I realized that the main lesson God was trying to teach us from the story of the complaining second son is that if we succumb, if we fall into the mindset of complaining, we actually fall short of recognizing the abundance of God. Kaya ang sagot niya, everything I have is yours. Nandiyan naman yung biyaya. All you have to do is to realize and see that you're already blessed. So how did God solve that ultimate hunger problem for all of us? He sent Jesus. Jesus is the new manna. Jesus is the bread of life. John chapter 6, verse 35 says this, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry again. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I love what we're discussing in the wilderness because we are also opening ourselves to the reality that even if you have Jesus, wilderness is still there in your life. Amen?
Yes.
Kahit naman kasama mo na ang Diyos, kasama pa rin talaga ang pagsubok. Kahit pa kasama mo na ang Diyos, kasama pa rin. No, mahihirapan ka, kasama pa rin na magreklamo ka. But God's promise is this. If you have me in your life, I will satisfy your every need. Naalala nyo sa opening ng series, sabi ni Brother Bo, wherever the wilderness is, God creates a pocket of Eden where we can experience His love. So today, that is God's invitation for you. Because of Jesus, you can enjoy a taste of Eden abundance today. Kapatid, anong pinagdadaanan mo sa buhay? Anong dinadala mo ngayon? Anong nirereklamo mo sa Diyos? Lord, yung trabaho ko, pagod na ako gawin yung tama. Bakit yung iba yun ang promote? Yung kumuha ng credit, siya yung na-promote. Ako nagawa ng trabaho, hindi. Lord, ako na tumutulong sa mga kamag-anak ko financially. Bakit ako nahihirapan ngayon? Ginagawa ko naman ang tama. Lord, bakit ganito? Pinagpalit ako ng partner ko sa iba. Eh ako yung mature. Ba't yung pinili niya kayo suicidal? Bakit, Lord? God is inviting you. Stop complaining. Start celebrating. Because Jesus is here in your life. Because He will satisfy your every need. Maybe not in the way you want. Maybe not in the time that you want. But God's promise is this. He is here. And He will let you experience the moment. Amen. Let's all raise our hands and pray. Amen. Let's sing.